And what's happening, everybody? Hope everybody's having a fantastic whatever day you're watching this. This is going to be a bit of a short live. I'm not really going to be on for that long. I'm wanting to touch on this first call thing from Mopar. I did a bit of a standalone video on this just a little bit earlier. Here's the thing, guys. If you're into EVs, I would love to know if this vehicle is something that you would even be interested in remotely. I can tell you that, at least on this show, nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, is voicing a position where they want to jump through hoops to get their hands on one of those cars. In fact, I don't know of anybody that has any real position on one of those cars. In other words, they're thinking about getting an RT, or they're thinking about getting a Scat Pack, or they're going to go through this first call thing. I don't know of anybody that has. And the bad part about this is that it's getting already so much negative press. There's very few content creators that are out there that are saying, yes, I'm going to get one of these cars. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to do this. None of them are doing that. None of them are posting up what their plans are. I'm pretty sure you'll see some of the hacks that are out there. The ones that have like just a Brazilian subscribers that have the bankroll to do it, to get one and jump it over a bridge or take it through a field or whatever. You're going to see some of that nonsense. If you're into that, then okay, great. But the reality is that for the vast majority of the people that are out there that are going to have any kind of just a sense of loyalty to Mopar in general, in terms of Hemi and nostalgia and heritage, none of those guys, and that's the majority of the folks that show up on this channel, none of those guys are talking about getting one of these cars. So anyway, I just wanted to put this out there for you guys again. Extremely short show tonight, but I find it a little bit curious how this is coming about. They're calling it a first call, and realistically, the first call has already been given. The last call was the first call. This is really second call, and I feel like the last call, the real last call, is when the Hurricane 6 variants of this car hit the road. And the reason why I say that is I don't know how much longer Dodge is going to be around. Again, I think we've already got our first call. The fact that they're releasing the EV first is, well, I can put it to you like this. It's not the best way to go about releasing a vehicle like this on the heels of having a car that can actually be mass market, or have mass market appeal, with an internal combustion engine, where you don't have to own a house and the charging infrastructure at your home to own one of these things. You can just take it to the gas station like a normal car. That would have been the smarter play. This looks extremely arrogant on the part of Dodge. And I got to tell you, I don't throw words like that around super lightly, but what else are you going to call it? This is what it looks like to a ton of folks. You're going to throw out there this EV with, in this so-called first call, you get an included direct connection power upgrade. What? Okay, so it's kind of weird. For you guys that may not be in the know, electric vehicles, well, you can tune them down or tune them up just by voltage and just how the speed controller operates with the battery to deliver power to the motors. You can adjust that, and the car comes detuned. You have to purchase these upgrades, either for a period of time or in a lump sum for a permanent switch, which is weird because if you can buy it like that, they can always take it away, which is enough to scare you anyway, right? But even getting beyond that, for what we're seeing from Dodge right now, this Charger, as unfortunate as that car looks, it's going to have its fans. And if Dodge does anything right, the interior is going to speak volumes to where they spent all of their time. It's certainly not on the exterior. And, Dodge does a good job with interiors. They make great cars to drive. It's just like this case isn't, they don't make great cars to look at, but it still doesn't matter. It's an EV. And EVs have far too many divisive qualities, if you will, about them. Even if they're contrived, even if these EVs aren't bad cars, or they're not, inherently flawed somehow just because they're electric vehicles, because they're not. And by the way, I'm not an EV guy the same way I'm not a diesel guy, the same way I'm not a gasoline guy, or an ethanol, an alcohol guy. I don't care what fuels the engine or motor. I just want to figure out how to make it go faster. Well, in the case of the EVs, there's a lot of folks that don't see it the way that I do. Matter of fact, in the case of the EVs, there's a lot of folks that absolutely cannot stand the idea because of the, well, I'll use the word again, the arrogance that seems to come with that. You have to own a home. Realistically, like if you want to utilize an EV at its fullest level of convenience, that's what you have to do. You have to own the home. You have to have the charging infrastructure at that home to really justify the ownership of one of those vehicles. Oh, and by the way, to get your hands on one of those cars is going to be expensive. Now, I didn't bother to even go and look at the pricing because, well, what was leaked earlier was already pretty, you're starting off so high. You ever hear somebody ask just so much for something that you're not even going to, it doesn't even bother you to negotiate with them. It's like you're starting way too high. That's where they are. And they'll say, oh, well, you get a $7,500 credit if you buy or lease one of these things. Okay. It's still way overpriced. They take the credit, they add it to the cost of the vehicle. It's what it seems like. It's like saying, hey, this $100 item is on sale, but that $100 item should only sell for $75. That's what it feels like to me. And so we're looking at a situation with Mopar in this case where, guys, it's almost embarrassing at this stage of the game. In the video that I posted earlier, I'm talking about first call as it pertains to working at a bar, second call and last call. Guys, we already got our first call in this, and that was the ending of the Hemi. The second call is the EV. And instead of ending on that note, I think that Dodge might be saying, look, we got to end this thing on a positive note. They released the Hurricane 6-cylinder variants. Those go out into the world. It's the car that everybody really wants anyway. And I've just got a weird feeling that after that production run, that is going to be it for Dodge, unless something changes soon and puts more favorable winds at the back of internal combustion engines. We're not going to see a very long production run of those vehicles. I personally feel like this could be really the end of the brand in general, at least as far as Stellantis would be concerned. But anyway, let me check in with you guys. Again, just a reminder, this is going to be a really short show tonight. So DM is in first with the ball guy and the flex. Got the cadence down. I like it. Lime's in. Hello, Professor B. What's up, Lime? Itch is in. Good day. Mark is saying, hey, brother, says pick up Ford F-150 with a 10-speed. Nice. Yeah, that's really where a lot of performance enthusiasts are already headed. By the way, again, I will say this, and I don't mean it for effect. If you want a good deal on a used Dodge Challenger or Charger, look no further than the used car section of your nearest Ford dealership. Because what too many guys have figured out is, man, look, you can get something Coyote powered, throw boost at it, and then never have to worry about it again. It'll be plenty fast. It'll be faster than pretty much any stock vehicle that you're going to see. And yeah, it's going to be fun. So the reality is, yeah, you might look at a Ford F-150 with a blower. Get a four-wheel drive truck and do crazy 0 to 60 launches on the street. Look at a Mustang. there's other areas that you can look at right now that, well, to be honest with you, are going to have to scratch an itch. You know, we don't even know when the Hurricane 6 cars are going to be released. I mean, look, I'm not trying to say counting your chickens before they hatch or whatever, but the reality is that it's making a lot of folks uneasy to see that EV hit. You mean to tell me we're going to have a period of time with absolutely no gasoline hot rods from Dodge? I mean, okay, the RHO pickup truck, I don't know about that. Because it's 70-odd thousand dollars. What the hell? This is the problem that we're faced with right now. Oh, and the other thing is that buyer confidence in Dodge and Ram and Jeep and Stellantis has basically rolled over tits north and pulled stick straight back. That is losing altitude like it is being done on purpose. So, again, guys, I've got to ask, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, would you be a player, honest to goodness, if you're watching the show live or if you're watching it afterwards? Are you a player on the EV? I would love to be able to put up a poll just to ask, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, if you bought one, and let's say you've got the house, and you've got the charging infrastructure at your home that will accommodate that vehicle. And I mean, not like just you got to wait 3 days for the thing to charge up. I mean, a quick charger and the real deal, man. Don't try to sugarfoot this. Are you buying this car? Are you going to race it? Why are you buying it? Are you going to do content with this thing? That's the only reason why I could see myself buying one of the EVs. But of course, as you guys know, Smoking Hot won't even allow one to pull into the driveway. So, you know, there's that. And for good reason. I mean, she's seen way too many videos of EVs bursting into flames for what seems to be no reason. My dad is also somebody that kind of put the fear of God when it comes to EVs into her when he worked at the track and would tell her, look, you know, the EV thing, they catch on fire when they're overloaded and they start smoking. You got to get them off the track and just really hope that the thing doesn't burst into flames. And if it does, you got to sit there and just watch a barbecue go down because you can't put the fire out. Pouring water on it might make it worse. So anyway, I'm having, again, to rely on you guys for a little bit of direction here when it comes to EV stuff. Again, I personally am not against EVs. I think they have their place. I think you let the fair market judge what is and what isn't going to be viable in the marketplace. So in saying that, I may not have anything against EVs, but I can also intelligently see the problems that those vehicles are faced with. And, you know, car for car, you might say, well, there's more gasoline cars that catch on fire. Yeah. Let's say that gasoline cars are pound for pound, let's say, if you will, car for car, twice as likely to catch on fire. Fuck it. Let's say they're 5 times more likely. They're not, but let's just pretend, just for the sake of argument, that they are. The big difference here is that when a gasoline-powered car bursts into flames, you have normal things that are going to catch on fire and burn. You got whatever's inside the car, fuel, oil, that is going to burn. And it's a known release of chemicals. And it can be extinguished if caught early enough with simple application of the universal solvent, also known as water. Water puts out fires when they are gas and oil and a normal car fire. If you try to do the same with an EV, the problem is that you cannot put that fire out. And what is released when those components are experiencing rapid thermal disintegration, or decomposition, I should say, is very caustic. I mean, think of the chemicals that go into a lithium battery and then burn the battery. I mean, you'll eat. I'll put it to you like this, okay? You would eat barbecue off a barbecue pit if you used lighter to spray on the coals and threw a match in it and it lit off. All right, you'll eat meat that's cooked on that grill, but if you used battery juice and sprayed it on the coals and lit that, you wouldn't eat the meat, would you? It's kind of like that in a way. And for me, under no risk right now do I feel like the EVs are the right way to go. That being said, I have a completely different outlook if it used a different technology of battery, in particular the lithium iron phosphate, the LiFePO4 batteries, which do not suffer the same type of active runaway thermal decomposition, which is to say they don't blow up the way that some of the other lithium polymer style batteries do. And they don't offer up the same amount of power discharge capability, correct, which means they're not going to be as powerful. And they don't offer up the same energy density, which means you don't have the same range. But it's not that far off. And there's no reason that it can't be safer and more environmentally friendly and maybe take away some of the anxiety. Now, they're not going to be as powerful, but they'll still be plenty powerful. And that's really all that matters. At the end of the day, anyway, that's what you're really driving towards. No pun intended, but you get the idea. So, again, all we can do is wait on the journalists to get their hands on this car and give us some kind of review of it. I'm sure it will be glowing. But with that being said, the way that Dodge is going about this is, it really does feel like brand sabotage to me. And I don't know how else to put my opinion of this. But anyway, it's up to you guys. You can post up your comments. Let me know what you think about this, because I can't get it through my head. Oh, Marco is saying got the Ford for daily and a Ram for regular cab for fun. No more Dodge. I get it. Others saying Sloopy Mason was just watching your video on the Challenger EV. Gotcha. DM saying I'm not an EV player at any price. Man, you know, I'm really not either. I gotta say, I'm not. I like the just the overall feeling, the sensation of an engine doing something. I'm the same way with e-bikes too. Like I don't mind an e-scooter, you know, like a real urban, you know, zing about type thing. But you know, for a motorcycle, no, ain't no damn way. It's got to be, and I mean, it's got to be internal combustion for me on a motorcycle. No worldly way around that. But with that, guys, again, this is going to be a short show. Again, I just wanted to put this out there on a little bit longer format than just the short video that I put out earlier. I know that, yeah, again, for some guys, the EV thing can be really divisive. This is where it becomes divisive for me, where you are pandering to a buying public that has to already have a certain level of privilege in that it owns the house. It's not a youth thing. Like people say, oh, EVs are of the future. Guys, no, you know how stodgy you have to be able to own and afford and have all of the things that you need to have at your house to charge that thing. I mean, it's got to be converted not to 220 but to 440 to have the 80 kilowatt charger, the 120 kilowatt charger, whatever it is. It's the cost of the vehicle itself, the cost to maintain it. People think, oh, it's electric, you don't have to maintain it. Actually, they're a lot heavier. They're going to go through brakes a lot quicker. Even if they have regen, you're still putting a lot of load on the brakes. If nothing else, you'll be going through tires a lot more quickly. And it does still have coolant. There are still things that need to be maintained on the car. It's not as much, but it's also not a zero number. It is a non-zero number, and people don't seem to realize that. DM saying Tavares is purposefully killing Dodge is too precise. I agree with that 100%, man. I really do. But guys, with that, I got to wrap it up. But post up your comments. Let me know what you think. We'll catch you on the next live. And that's a wrap. Y'all have a great one.